I'm going to call this regular meeting of the Marine City Commission to order at 7 o'clock on November 6, 2014 at 7 p.m. Tonight, the prayer is going to be led by Reverend Stephen Rooney from Our Lady on the River Parish. We're all going to stand. He'll lead us in prayer, and immediately after that, we're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Loving God, who from the abundance of your divine providence have called these your servants to serve us in civic responsibility, imbue them, we beseech thee, with wisdom. Grant unto them a spirit of humility. Drive from their hearts any prejudice or obstacle that would prevent them from serving faithfully your people. Guide them in their decisions and reward them for their faithfulness. We ask this in the name of the God who watches over all and who has come to us in the person of Jesus of Nazareth, through Christ our Lord. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Stajarczyk.
Here.
Commissioner Avery.
Here.
Commissioner Margaret.
Here.
Commissioner Lovett.
Here.
Commissioner Melly.
Here.
Commissioner Simpson.
Here.
Commissioner Turner.
Here.
City Manager Daver.
Here.
All right, we have communications. We have 4A. We have a resignation letter from Raymond Squires. No longer has the time or ability to serve on the TIFA board, so we thank you for your service, Mr. Squires. And we have communication from DEQ training certificates by our DPW director and a couple of
Make a motion that we accept the communications and place them on file.
support. A motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So filed. We're moving on to the public comment portion of the meeting. Residents are welcome to address the commission. Please state your name and address and keep your comments to 5 minutes, please.
John Sapiens, 426 Broadway. A great town we live in here. Marine City's a great place. I think we can do better though. Our DPW could have been trained in the restoration of the brickwork and continued restoration of it. We wasted a lot of money on City Hall. The city DPW could have been used to paint the lighthouse, because out of 35,000, 30,000 of that money is pure profit. A lot of jobs like that could have been done by our own people. The businesses are struggling in town. Water Street is the only place that's getting help as far as grants, but it's the wrong kind of help. The other businesses on Broadway and Parker have to compete with the businesses on Water Street, and those businesses have the luxury of getting all the Canadians and the luxury of the riverfront. The other businesses on the other two main roads, they depend on the people of the town to support them, and the lack of business and industrial on Degursey has led to a lack of funds, and that's why Kmart is doing so poorly in our town and every other business. We need to provide jobs in this town. The kind of help that we're getting as far as the grants, you know, if our industrial were helped out, they'd be able to hopefully provide more jobs for us on Degursey. But I feel that the way that Bruce Johnson would help those businesses out on DeGursey is to get a foreclosed property and offer somebody new that buys that property for 1/10 of the value that his neighboring businesses were purchased because of the crash, and also paying 1/10 of the tax rate, is now going to get hundreds of thousands in grant money to build up his business. That's the kind of help we're getting on Water Street for the lucky few that can qualify for those grants. Like I said before, I believe that grant money should be interceded by the city and redistributed in a fair way amongst all the businesses that are competing against one another in the business district. And we can do a lot better in this town, and I'm sure it's going to get better, and I have faith. Thank you.
Do we have anyone else like to address the commission? Seeing no one, we'll move on to item 6, which is the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda, for the meeting.
We have motion and support. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's been approved. The agenda's been approved. Moving on to approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the City Commission regular meeting of October 16th, 2014.
Is there any discussion, questions about the minutes, corrections? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On to the consent agenda. We have item 8A, Strategic Communication Solutions, Inc. update. Would you like to,
And B?
yeah, well, I thought maybe we'd take them one at a time. We got item 8B, which is almost new business license, so we got those two items.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda and place on file.
A motion support. Any discussion, questions, comments? Nothing. All right. We have no unfinished business, so, well, I think I gotta get a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving on to new business, because we have no unfinished business. Item 10A is question Marine City Area Fire Authority service charges.
As stated in the letter dated June 16th, the individual is upset at the cost of the service charges. They actually stopped at the fire station, is my understanding from Joe, our fire chief, and these services were performed. We didn't charge any additional. These were just what we would typically charge for this level of service, whether it was here at the fire station or if they had gone to a resident house in Marine City. We turned it over to AccuMed. I don't know if the individual has insurance. I don't know any of the background that's there, but unfortunately, when we have to call people in, and I know Commissioner Hendricks knows this as well because she deals with the board, these are the type of charges that are generated. It's not much different than going to an emergency. I mean, you're paying for the ability to have that service in a very short period of time. So it's the board's decision whether they want to do something different with regards to this invoice. My recommendation is that I wouldn't do that. I don't know what other activities you open up as soon as you start making changes. And I don't know, Commissioner Hendricks, whether you want to comment on what they've done in other townships with regards to this, because I'm sure this isn't the first time it's come up as part of the fire authority's jurisdiction.
Some of the, I know some of the other townships have had certain issues with this. They do try to take into consideration costs, whether the person can afford this or not. In some of those circumstances, then they've waived the fee if it's a hardship case. But we don't know enough about this particular case to know if, I don't know, is the person here? Is Rick Niffen?
Doesn't look like it.
No, okay.
Commissioner Levitt?
Is this what would have been charged if an ambulance went out and spent more time, if they went to the home and brought them in? Is it just
Well,
a
first of all,
standard fee or?
we don't have an ambulance to send, but we do have a first responder. I think it's even more for that.
Yes.
That's
but-
my question.
right.
Okay.
It's
So this
strictly
was
for
just the
fire
man
department.
hours and whatever they had to do to do this. Not that man hours is everything that drives this, but,
Well, an ambulance was dispatched and it did arrive according to the.
yeah, but they didn't transport it, they didn't do anything else, so.
Right, but I'm sure there's cost in just showing up.
Yeah, they have their own charge.
Yeah, that's
Right.
dry hospital, so they would be separate from.
I guess, are these rates published on the authority's website?
I don't know if they're published on the website or
Each,
not.
I think, and each township has their own, you know, they all each vote on this independently. So I'm not sure if they all are using the same rates. I would assume so, but I don't know.
I don't know that.
But this is the first incident we've ever had. This has been in here for how long? This Acumen billing?
Oh geez, about a year after we started the fire authority, they put that in
So
place.
it's been in there a couple of years, and this is the first complaint. But without knowing any more about the individual, you know.
Commissioner Simpson?
John, would this be something we vote on as part of a fee schedule, or is it separate because fire authority is
Fire
separate?
authority is separate, so these are something they decide.
Well, that's why I was surprised when the comment was made that the townships all do something different. Is it authority, isn't the rates
Well, I'm
the
not
same?
sure. I mean, it looks like they're all using the same thing because they're all listed at the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah, I mean, I've been involved in these type of
This is
things
the
and
first one I've seen here. come
and
through.
had people transported by ambulance, and it's really expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my only suggestion would be maybe have the authority publish their rates so that people can see them and they know they're not just making them up as they go, that kind of thing.
I mean, really, for personnel, he only charged 2 hours, which was $40. The rest of it was a flat rate that they charged for medical emergency, so.
Yeah, and I'm not really quite sure what that involved in that. I guess it's, so the fire authority, I assume, was approached, the chief addressed this, and they
Yeah.
decided to just
Well,
basically.
no, I think the
leave it.
individual decided that when the ambulance showed up, that they didn't want to use the ambulance or what have you.
Right, but as far as these charges go,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they were assessed by the
By the
fire
fire
authority.
chief. Yeah, by the fire authority.
chief, and he's already reviewed this and decided to not
Yeah,
make any changes.
that's who I got it from.
Right,
Yeah, they just turned, we don't normally see these.
Yeah,
right, so how, I mean, I'm a little curious how we're involved at all.
because.
That's kind
they-
of where I'm at too. is
Well, because the letter
only
came
because
through and it
it's-
was contested, and the only one that can take these charges away for Marine City is this board, okay? Or can make adjustments to it. The
Yeah.
fire
Each
authority.
board handles their own issues with the Acumen billing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if Cotterville Township has the gripe, they go to Cotterville Township.
So is it based on, this is a Marine City resident?
No,
No.
he came to the Marine City Fire
Then why
Hall.
is it in front of us?
Because it came to this fire station in Marine City.
Okay.
It wasn't something that we did outside the city limits, so that's why it came to us.
Okay.
But it's still a fire authority, it's
Right.
just because
Yeah,
it's
but
this
it's
building.
still a fire-
It should be the authority dealing with this.
I know, but it's listed as Marine City. If, whatever action happens, because it happened in Marine City, would stay in Marine City. If the action happened in Cotterville or one of the other ones, then they have to deal with that.
Commissioner O'Malley?
Yes, if I may ask, the question is in regarding that they rejected the service for the ambulance, but evidently, maybe they weren't aware of there is a charge or a fee. Is that what they're contesting then, I take it?
No, the charges they're contesting were assessed by the fire authority, it looks like, for the services they rendered. The EMS is probably totally separate.
Yeah, they gave, if you read the detail, it says they gave oxygen, monitored vitals, and presumably there's a sanitation process with gloves and procedure there. And of course, the general liability of servicing a patient.
So they probably contacted EMS.
No, if you
Yeah.
read his letter, it indicates that he had contacted, presumably via cell phone, and his family, 911, to tell them to meet at
Right.
the
Oh,
fire station.
okay.
If it indicates in the letter, and then that his daughter went inside to notify them of the emergency
Right.
while they were waiting.
And they did, give him oxygen and tend to him while he's here, so.
Which, then rightly so, they should bill at whatever given rate is.
Right, and it looks like these are set rates, so I don't think they're,
In my mind,
Making it up.
it's, you know, notwithstanding that insurance, if it's not covered, can be expensive, but it appears that it's calculated fairly, based on, you know, the established procedures of the fire authority and services rendered.
no, I'd
In
agree.
most cases, they're covered by people's insurance.
It's unfortunate that he's not here to discuss any hardships that might make his situation unique.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he did get services rendered, and, you know, I'm not gonna make a motion or make any recommendations. If anybody else would like to, feel free. If not, I'm ready to move on if everyone else is. Okay, we're on to item 10B, which is traffic order control.
Yeah, what you have in front of you, we've been contacted by a homeowners association, well, it's actually, I believe, a condo association off Degurski. There were some issues with some vehicles being parked on the west side of River Valley Drive, and if you look at the picture, it's probably the easiest way. At one time, there was a boat with a trailer and a truck parked there. There's also two trees as you come up to the corner that had some blockage of vision both up and down Degurski going east and west. And then there was a large pine tree in the first house on the east side of River Valley Drive, that first driveway, that also was an obstruction. We contacted the property owner and they said they didn't want it trimmed, but if we wanted to take it down, we were more than happy to take it down. So we removed the pine tree. The other two smaller pine trees on each corner, we cut up about 4 feet so you can see underneath them. And the traffic order now is to make it a no parking zone for the first 50 feet to the corner. We just want to put signs up that say no parking from this spot to the corner, so nobody parks anything there. And that should take care of all the issues that they had over there. So, the chief put a temporary one in, but I don't want to put the sign up. I figured I'd bring it to the board. You have to confirm the permanent one, so that's what this is about.
Make this a permanent,
Traffic order.
no parking spot. It has been overrun with a lot of vehicles at times. The only thing I will say by doing this is we have a lot of other no parking areas that are not enforced. So if we're gonna put that up there, it should be
Well, I'll
enforced.
tell you what, all they gotta do is call.
I'd second the
We're not
motion
gonna
on the floor.
necessarily patrol for it, but if we get a call, and I'm sure we will, then we'll go take care of it. It's not a problem.
You have a second.
Okay, so we have a motion and support. Well, so now is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Commissioner Malley?
Yes. How does the homeowner feel about having the no parking zone there, the first 50 feet? Is he contesting it or anything? Does he feel?
He was the one that parked the truck with the trailer and the boat there, so,
So would he be contesting it then, or?
I don't know. He hasn't contacted us. We asked him to move. Basically, the ordinance officer went over there and said, move the, I think the truck was unplated, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Move it,
surprised.
and it got moved.
It shouldn't make any difference to the homeowner anyway, it's the street we're dealing with,
Yeah.
which is our
Oh, okay.
issue.
It's a
Well, I
straight.
just, because I was thinking when you diced up the tree, you took the tree out and then you felt,
The tree is the tree is actually over here, Commissioner. This is the
Oh,
tree we
okay.
took out.
Oh, okay.
And then there's two pine
'Cause I
trees
thought it
here.
was
We
this
cut
side.
these
Okay.
up 4 feet on
Oh,
either
okay.
side, so you could see easily. So what we're saying is, we don't want any parking right
Okay,
there.
that's why I thought it was on this lot here. but-
No, not on the
Okay.
lot, on the
Oh,
street,
on the street.
on the street.
Okay, all right. I'm good for it then.
Commissioner Simpson?
I'd just say it would seem to me that it supports other non-parking areas within the city. It's consistent.
Yeah,
And
normally
I
it's
think
no
that's one of the
parking
biggest
up to
things
the
we
first
look at.
15 feet.
Is it fair and consistent? It definitely seems like this is fair and consistent with, you know, others, notwithstanding any enforcement issues, but those would certainly be a separate issue.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor of making this a permanent no parking zone, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Hopefully everybody in that area is gonna be happy now. Item 10C, we have the webpage discussion. He's down here as Commissioner webpage discussion. I guess I'll start this one off since I kind of complained about it a little bit. When I talked to our city manager there. If anyone's really looked at that, I'd like you just to read the description for the city commission and tell me what you think. If you haven't read it yet, take a gander now and just let me know what you think about it.
It did stand out on me when I was reading it in the board packet. My question would be, John, is this from city charter? Is that verbiage from there? Where
Pretty
was it?
much, yeah.
Okay.
And that was what was on the old webpage. We transferred a lot of that over, because remember, about 30 days before we turned that on, I gave everybody the URL address and said, go look at it and let me know if you want to change anything, and
Yeah, for the benefit of the viewing audience, it's basically, looks like it was cut and pasted out of the city charters. It's almost, gives you no information and it's almost unreadable. My suggestion is that when people come to the website, they're coming there for information, and they should be able to get whatever, any information that they want, and it should be in just very descriptive and in plain English. I brought in a page that I printed off of Southfield's website, because I thought the language and the way they approached it was very good. It gives you a lot of information in plain English in a short amount of time. Now, their city government's structured different than ours. They have, more commissioners and a different type of mayor. I don't know if she's a strong mayor.
it's a
but-
strong mayor.
Yeah, and they have their city clerk's elected official, so we can't just mirror this, but I'm just saying, this is the type of thing that I think would be more beneficial to anyone that visits our website. Just a little more information, a little more descriptive, and, we did talk about the pictures of the commissioners, and initially we said it didn't matter, but I think that the people should be able to come to the website and get as much information as they can about their elected officials, including what we look like. I think our terms should be on there, like when our terms expire. Just make it, if someone wants to check us out and see what's going on, I think they should be able to get more than just our name and an email address. And the other thing I noticed going through our website, there's a lot of boards that there's no description for at all. And I think, personally, I think every board should have a good, plain English description of what it does, and if there's any special qualifications required for the board members. And, those are my main suggestions, so.
I agree wholeheartedly with you. I think, first of all, it's a much improved website from what we had before. And so when you have something now that you can look at and begin to tweak and make look better, and what you're doing now, it's something we should all start taking. I mean, I was just thrilled to see what we had that we didn't have before. But now you can tweak it, and going through the boards, committees, and the whole website, I think there are a lot of areas where we can make it look a little better, doing more side-by-side, not just pictures of necessarily of all the individuals on all the committees, but, something that represents the committee. Just some of the sites are so attractive. The fire department site is so attractive. There are other sites where there are pictures of what's happening in the community, or you can click on there was a number of slideshows on the fire department, fire authority, site. But it doesn't even have to be that. It can just be a symbol that represents the clerk, for example. If Ms. Baxter doesn't want her picture there, she might, put down a pen and ink or something, or whatever, a voting machine, whatever is, represents that group. And then making it more concise, I look at it and I don't pay attention to all the details, but you have, just looking at the basic website, you go down through, I'm thinking of the treasurers, okay? And you have all this information in front of you, and the hyperlinks over here. I would rather see the pertinent information such as the name of the clerk, the assistant clerk, if you want to put a picture of them on the left, address, phone number, et cetera, and then hyperlink. You know, have each topic a short description and then hyperlink it to the rest of the site. So that you have
No
one
offense,
page
I
to look
appreciate
at.
all this. That's a major rewrite to what we've got up there
Yes,
now.
right. But take,
And I asked for the
Let-
comments a
let-
month ago before we
Right.
did it, and,
Well, let me ask this, what is easy to do? And-
well, I
and-
mean, these kind of updates I can, but when I start moving pages around and what have you, that becomes a huge issue. And we had met as a department head several times, and we said, this works well, and we copied it off of some other web pages that were out there. Now, I'm not talking about the verbiage. The other thing is that most department heads do not want their pictures up on the webpage.
all I suggest is elected
And
officials.
that's fine, but I'm just letting you know that those probably won't go back
I
up
mean,
there.
you know, part of this came up from me being at the convention
Yeah,
last, what was it, on the 16th, 17th of last month, and as I'm meeting these public officials and talking to them, then I wanted to get a little more information. I started jumping around to their websites, and I found some really nice websites where you get a lot of information. Some of them had little bios that they put in about themselves and that kind of thing. And then I come to our website, and there's not much there for anybody that comes to
and I'll
find
take a
out.
bio from all 7 of you and get it up there.
Yeah, well,
I can't write it, though.
Right, and I don't necessarily know that we need a bio, but like this right here, this is just one page. Their whole commission, you know, pretty much fits on one page. And I guess the question is approving, you know, how do we get to this point of improving on the verbiage? You know, should we put a little committee together that works on it? I mean,
For the commission.
for the commission.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can plagiarize it, I'm not afraid to do that, I can find it and match it, or if you'd prefer a couple of you to get together that want to write just some stuff to put up there, and then we can move it around and make some adjustments to it, okay?
Commissioner Hendrick.
I think with winter coming, that we'll all have a little bit more time to do this now. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I think a committee, we could sit down and try to put some stuff together. It'd be a good thing to do.
I mean, I know PD for a fact today was looking at theirs, and they're planning on making some updates, because one of the reasons we went to WordPress was that we could make changes a lot easier than what we had in the past. Now, I'm not there trying to rebuild pages and what have you, but these kind of changes here are not difficult to do.
How about pictures and that? Is that real?
That is not difficult to do.
Okay, so,
Yeah, minimum,
Yeah.
let's get some verbiage on there that just is, you know, it gives a lot of information and it's in plain English. That's,
Now, what I would like, though, is to get some very nice pictures of the whole board, so that,
okay.
you know, we'll schedule something, and I know Elizabeth has a photography degree, and she also has a blue screen background and what have you, so we can get the pictures taken fairly inexpensively, you know, so, but it would be nice to have nice pictures to put up there.
you're saying our last ones were nice? Commissioner Lovett.
I
There
think
was
that's
something
great.
about that sweatshirt you had on.
And I don't think that there was things I was writing, would expect anything to go back and redo everything, but, you know, over time, just as we redo a
Right.
site to update it, et cetera.
You know,
And I would be willing to work on a committee of that nature to work on the
One
commission.
of the main goals of any government website should just be to facilitate anybody that goes there with whatever information they're trying to gather. Some people are gonna go here to try to pay bills, see what their bills are. Other people are gonna come here just to get information about the city. And our website should make that an easy process and give them, I guess when I actually read that and saw what it said, I said, what?
Now, keep in mind, it's only been up there for the 7 years I've been here.
Right, but now that we're working on it,
Oh, yeah,
I'm paying attention.
and that's okay, you know.
So,
So we'll start with this, and we'll make these changes, and then let a couple months go by, and you kind of look through it again and say, all right, what do we need to do next after that? I mean,
so
it's,
do you think that the city, city clerk, or who could work on the verbiage, or do we have to do it? Which do you
I
think is
would
the best
put,
way to do it?
personally, I think maybe a little subcommittee, and it won't take a couple of you that long to look at what's out there and put something together that is an improvement over what we have, and we can always change it later. you know, I mean, or add to it or what have you. But I would prefer, as a board, some representation of the board actually write it. And that way, it's not a ongoing, well, we didn't like that word and we want to wordsmith this. You can kind of do that on your own before I get it. And like each department head is charged with reviewing it and making sure it's up to date. Diane did a great job. There's some things that we need to look at, just,
Yeah, and probably we should have been given that assignment as well, you know.
you were,
Just like, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. But, Commissioner Avery?
We're gonna be restricted to 3 commissioners or less, aren't we, on this, unless we call it an open meeting?
I don't, you know, if you're not making any policy decisions, I don't know if that
I would like to
constitutes a
think
problem.
not, but I'm just asking.
No,
it would be better if you didn't have more than
Right,
3.
if you
I
kept
don't
it
know
on
that
it,
you
then
want.
there's no question, but.
I would argue that, do you need 3, more than 3 on
I
such
don't
a
think so.
subcommittee? I
Right.
think that would
I don't think
probably
it'd
be
be more
not
than probably
productive,
2.
Well, fine, I mean,
but good point.
Well, you know, that we could have a couple individuals work on it, then we could do some back and forth, you know, with Word,
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah, this
Once
isn't a
per-
policy or anything like
Right.
that. You could email this stuff back and forth and say,
Right.
what do you think? Because this is
So,
strictly.
do I have any volunteers for the subcommittee?
You didn't hear me.
Oh, we got 3 right there. Look at that. Way to go. So when you guys, amongst yourselves, come up with some time to work on this, and then when you have a rough draft, you know, send out an email.
Send it out to the rest of the board.
Yeah,
that's
and
all.
we'll give you our comments and
Yeah.
we'll get
As
it
long as they're
done.
nice.
Yeah. Anything else on this subject?
Do you need a motion for that?
I don't think so.
So who's the
It's,
Yeah, that's a good question. We technically all 4 volunteered.
three? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see your hand
Yeah.
go up.
Oh, that's fine, then it's those 3.
Why don't we do,
That's
Commissioner,
okay, that's
no,
okay.
you
I got it.
volunteered first.
what I saw was Commissioner Avery,
Those two
Commissioner
are-
Simpson, and Commissioner Lovett. That's our
I'll
I
official.
envision this more as electronic
Yeah.
Yeah.
conversation
Right.
back
I'm
and
good
forth
with
on what you want to put
So
out there.
that, so
We
that's
just
our,
wanted to make sure.
that's our official subcommittee.
You could be our alternative to the committee.
Okay, an alternate.
All right, so now are we all set? All right, so moving on, we're on to item 11A, which is disbursements, including payroll.
I make a motion to approve disbursements including payroll, $193,407.50.
Support.
We have motion and support. Do we have any discussion, questions? Nobody? I just have one comment.
What's that?
I would suggest that our DPW director maybe look at buying his antifreeze in bulk. He might save some money. I do. And I don't use
I'll have-
automotive antifreeze for stuff like that. I use a food safe antifreeze like propylene glycol. And you can buy that 5, 10, 50-gallon containers. And I don't know how many jugs were purchased at that price, but I think we could do better if we bought it in bulk. I just make that recommendation.
I'll have them take a look at it.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Avery,
Yes,
Commissioner Hendrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Lovett,
Yes,
Commissioner Melly,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson,
Yes.
Commissioner Turner,
Yes.
Mayor Skatarzik.
Yes. All right,
Motion carries.
thank you, Board. And on to the city manager's report.
Couple of things. The lighthouse is almost done. The outside of it is completed. I mean, the painting function and all of that is done. The glass has been replaced. We did a little bit of painting in the interior on the very upper level. Tifa had also authorized some funding, so we ended up able to put the second logo on the west side, or the street, Water Street side of the lighthouse. We're also gonna put some interior lighting in. That's gonna happen 3 or 4 compact fluorescents so we can see in the inside of it. We had the inside cleaned a little bit, the first 5 feet. We have some steel structure at the base that needs to be reworked. DPW will be doing that work through the winter. There's no rush on it, but we want to get that done before we do any other painting or sandblasting in there. And then we're going to hang 2 more LEDs on the east and west sides so that they wash from the top down, and they will actually light the logos up, and that's each side of the lighthouse from the top down. So, just so you know, and that will complete the funding we had available both from the city as well as Tifa. That will use all of that up. Strategic Communications is looking for some additional funding now so that we can potentially finish the inside. And by finish the inside is basically just do some minor repairs, sandblast and paint. With the lighting that we would put in there and that operation, we could maybe even open it up next summer on occasion after we check the insurance and liabilities of that. They couldn't go all the way up to the top, but you could get up to the second level of windows and look out the windows. It's very difficult to get up from there, and then we have some radio equipment up on top and that we just couldn't get people up there. But we may be able to open it up on occasion during the summer and let them go up and take pictures through the glass and what have you. So we are working on that to see if we can find some funding. They assured me they were going to find something, so we'll see how that goes. I'll answer any questions if anybody has any with regards to the lighthouse. If not, I'll keep going.
I've made the climb at the one in Port Huron, and that's not the easiest one either. They're always a little tricky when you have that type of staircase. That's a lot larger.
The staircase going up to the first stop is not bad. It's the ladder and the little staircase going up to the top, that's the bad one.
They have a similar situation. It's you got to kind of boost yourself up to get into that upper area, and they let everybody up there. So.
Well, if I didn't have radio equipment up there, I'd probably, but with the mesh network equipment up in that tower, and potentially I've been approached by an island in Canada. They want to maybe put a small microwave dish inside that so that they can get internet on the island across the river. Because they don't have it and nobody will bring it in there for them. So they're looking at that option. They're looking at leasing something to put up there, and
that would probably be worth more than a tourist going up there.
Yeah, so I don't know. We're just looking at the options. So anyways, that's what's going on with that. Another thing, we have a bench for Dale Markle in his memory and a spot location. The bench arrived. Mike said he needs about a week to 10 days based on what he's got going right now to get it assembled and ready to be placed. They're pouring the I think they poured the concrete yesterday for it, okay? So that'll be ready. As a board, I would like the board maybe to do a little small dedication. So we need to come up with some kind of timing when we can schedule as many board members as well as whatever family members want to come up. Isn't that bench going in King Road?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
it's going to go in the King Road Park near that little circle walkway that they put in. So
it would have to be, you know, afternoon sometime.
yeah,
So.
Keep it in mind, and I'll have the clerk kind of contact you as we get a little closer and say, well, it'll work for you. It might be a Saturday even or something like that, where we could get enough board members.
Like when we did the bridge thing.
Yeah,
That worked.
something.
I think we had that on a weekend.
On a weekend, that might work, and, you know, it won't be very lengthy dedication, but it would be nice to do that.
Sunday afternoon, something like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me.
So I'll let the clerk coordinate that though, so I just wanted to keep that in mind. The other thing is that we have an opportunity to use this EBW TV, and Dave, you may be familiar with this, Commissioner Simpson. There's a group of cities, and I'm buying into it for 1 year to see its effectiveness. We're going to get 6 shows, 3-minute shows that we can do. The first 2 have to be done by next week, Wednesday. So I'm going to do one on 300 Broadway, and I've contacted Becky Lepley, the chair of Friends of City Hall, for a short introduction, and we're going to cut their existing video down so that it fits into a 3-minute segment. I've also talked with Georgia Phelan. She's collecting a bunch of still pictures from the downtown. We want to feature the downtown Parker, all of our basically commercial properties and what's available, and she's writing a short script to go with that for 3 minutes. We're going to try to do those pictures in the background and let, you know, just a voiceover on the stills as they change. That would be the first 2. I'm looking for ideas for the next 4. In addition to that, because we're members of Blue Water group. I think we get 18 St. Clair County wise, so there may be some additional ones coming out of that as well. But it's a very good marketing tool. It was relatively inexpensive. I think it was around $1,200 for the year just to try it once. Marysville, Port Huron, we all met together and said, okay, we'll try it and see how this works. If we don't like it, we didn't get the results, we just don't spend the money next year on
You're
it.
talking about with this channel?
This is online, this is
Right.
not on TV, so you get a lot better penetration with the online stuff. They had some real good information with regards to how much cable TV penetration you get, and it's only about 34%. You get about 60 to 70% using this type of activity, so.
Did you see my interview from last year?
Yes, I did see that. So I just wanted to let you know, I'm looking for ideas. Email me with something, say, hey, why don't we take a look at this? We can talk about it a little bit more, but I need to start putting that list together for the next 4 shows that we'll probably shoot after the first of the year. The other big event that came up.
Your tax presentation would be a good show.
That could be,
At some
I don't,
point.
and what I could do is take it to 6 minutes and just combine 2 if I needed to, but you're right, but I'm looking for ideas like that. I'm willing to put anything together that we can. We were just kind of under a tight time frame. Once they said, okay, we're gonna let this thing go, we had about a week to get something together,
It's
so.
actually a surprising, a very professional studio. It's a nice.
Oh, it is,
It's a
yeah.
nice spot, yeah.
So, looking forward to trying to capitalize on that. We've got some momentum going in town right now, just the city overall. I mean, I was at Bill McDonald Ford yesterday talking with Bill, and he said, wish you were up here, because you guys are just doing great stuff down there right now. I mean, everybody just, they're paying attention to what's happening in Marine City in total, so. The other thing that is being launched, and for the first 2 years is basically no cost, is what they call WINS, Warning Information Notification System. I'm going to be giving you, you're going to be receiving this information. We just had the meeting yesterday, so I didn't have this. I mean, I knew about the program because it's handled through Homeland Security, but I wasn't sure of when the details of the launch is. We've actually started to launch it in November. It's probably going to be available online at the end of next week. Now, this is a very unique system. It allows you to subscribe to it, and then it allows you to pick what kind of information you want to see, whether it's weather information, whether it's the school systems are going to be in it, is my understanding, and you can customize your warnings or information stream based on what you want to see, okay? There are some things that you don't have a choice on, and that is basically a tornado warning or severe thunderstorm. You get that whether you subscribe to it or not. But everything else, you check the box. And then you can tell it how you want it to come to you. It can be a phone message, it can be a text, it can be an email, it can be all of them, okay? It's got both what we call a private side and a public side. The private side we can actually use internally. I'll give you an example. DPW can actually say, hey, I need you to come in for a snow emergency, and they can actually respond. I can be there in 20 minutes, I can be there in 30 minutes, and what have you. Same thing with the police. Another feature of the system is, let's say we had a water main issue in a specific area. You can actually go to the map online, the administrative side of it, circle the area that is in trouble, and anybody receiving messages in those areas, it'll just go out to maybe 2 blocks, okay? It can be customized just for Marine City residents only. If you had family living in some other portion of St. Clair County, you could actually say, they're in Yale, let's say, I want all the bad weather information or any alerts for Yale because my mother and father lived there, and you would get it for that. So, a very unique system. We're trying to get it off the ground in a very positive manner. It's used in Canada right now. At some point, we hope to be able to link with the Canadian system. You could do water alerts. You could do special things just for residents of Marine City that are on the system. You
So
do
if
typically.
they dump something in the river, they'll tell us. ahead of time.
I can't control the way the governments talk to each other, but as soon as we hear about it, then we can put it out there.
They will
But I
3
can't
days
control
later.
that.
They'll let you know.
However, you're gonna be getting more information on this. The webpage will be available, to sign up on, probably starting next week sometime. It looks like it's a win-win. We're not the first to use this. This is used around the country by, different government organizations, different cities, municipalities, as well as private industry, okay? Because it's relatively user-friendly, but it's so customizable that you can really narrow it down to a small group of people if you need to do that.
Sounds like a very effective tool.
Yeah.
The school district uses a very similar program, obviously not as a wide scale, and they've really been hammering that home the past few years. It's been very successful.
Right, and I
a lot
think
more
they're looking at
user-friendly.
switching to this
Yeah,
one
they-
because this one is more
They
versatile.
were looking to expand, and that would,
Yeah.
but I just know from a staff standpoint and for student notification, it's really streamlined that, and you can get more information out in a lot less time. Snow days and building issues, and parents have had a lot of positive feedback on that. So if they're already used to one system, that's,
The Canadian government just put out 40,000 notices because of a weather issue over there in the Sarnia area. It took them 8 minutes to get 40,000. That's how quick it was, so, yes.
What's the cost on that? Is it to the city or to the individuals?
Right now, Homeland Security is footing the bill, okay? And they probably will for the next 2 years. It could be a minimal cost to the city, or it could end up being something like you subscribe to it for $1 or $2 a year. I mean, it could be that inexpensive when you get 50,000 people on it. It more than covers the cost of it. And if you're getting, like you said, the school system, if you're getting good information, $1 or $2 a year is nothing. I mean, we throw that away in pop bottles sometimes. So, I mean, it could be very cheap to stay subscribed. We'll have to see how it goes after we get about 18 months into it. So, we've been working on this for over a year because I sit as the chair of the Homeland Security board in St. Clair County, and as the vice chair rather, and it's something that's just coming to fruition now, so should work out well. It'll take a little while to get people on board, but once we get it up and running, then we're going to start promoting it heavily, and we'll see what happens. So, yeah.
So is that just used with your cell phone then? I take
It can be your home phone, cell phone, email address. It can actually leave a voicemail for you on your home phone.
So would that go with your provider? Like say if you're.
No, you just, when you sign up, you put your number on it.
Oh, that's all you do, okay.
You have to sign up,
Okay,
and you have to have a valid address, okay? It's gonna check to make sure you put in a valid address.
So you essentially tell them how you want to be communicated.
Absolutely.
that's
And then
half
you
the
can
beauty
go
of
back in
that
there and change
program.
it if you go, oh, I'm getting too much.
That's half the beauty of the program is you as a subscriber have control over it. You don't have to turn into a specific news channel or whatever.
Right.
If you're always carrying your cell phone on you, or you're always in front of a computer at work, you control.
You control how you want to see the information and what order you want to see it. I want to see a text on my cell phone first, then I want you to call my cell phone, leave a voicemail, then I want you can actually control that order and change that order. So it's really slick. I mean, it really is. So let me see, did I have anything else? I think that was the last item. That's it. I will remind everybody that on the 20th, I will be gone for 10 days. I'm going down south to visit my dad. Hopefully he'll still be there when I get there. He's getting ready to turn 93, so.
Before you finish here, I noticed this is the second meeting we've received some criticism on the lighthouse and the grants. As far as addressing these complaints, the grants are very specific, and you have to qualify for them, and we can't control, we can't take that money and redistribute it some other way.
That's right. The grants are specific to a traditional downtown, to facades, rental rehab. Those are the two that we've been able to leverage heavily. And MSHDA defines the traditional downtown, and that starts at M29 in Broadway, goes east on Broadway to Water, goes south on Water to Bridge, and Bridge back to Main. That is our traditional downtown.
And if I remember from those meetings, once that area is, completed, like the grants have been saturated, then they might look at
Then they'll start
expanding.
looking at expanding it.
And
Absolutely.
maybe get into some buildings that aren't
contiguous
Right,
and stuff like that.
absolutely.
And I also like to mention that there's been vacant property in that area for quite a while for buildings that do qualify.
Yes.
So it's not like you can't still get in on the action.
No, and we've been very successful with it. They have money. They like giving it to Marine City right now because we have a good
Right, and
success story.
it's not city money,
It's not city money.
it's state money.
It's state, it's actually CGBD money, which is the federal money handled through the state. And typically, the match is about anywhere from 25% to 50%, depending on which grant it is and how they qualify a particular rehab.
Thank you. So we'll move on to Commissioner Privilege. Who would like to start? Go ahead, Commissioner Simpson.
I just want to comment on the lighthouse. We received a lot of compliments on that. It looks great. I went down there once during the day and then once at night to see it in the lights, and it's really pretty neat, especially coming up with the time change now, early morning when you see that light. It's a nice factor to really be able to see downtown, and I think in the summer it'll be great. They were gangbusters, got that done really quick. It's real nice, and it's neat to see people actually recognize that, besides the fact that you had a big work crew on there, complimenting on that, it's not something we made a huge announcement about, but that's
It was
One
put
other
out for
comment
bids.
I would like to
Yeah.
make, DPW looked at that, and that was out of the realm of that they felt comfortable even going after. And with the smaller crew as we have now, there is no way we would have had the right equipment and what have you to go do that.
No, and it
This
was-
worked out very
It was
well.
put out for bids and we only had two bidders.
We only had two
So if it
bidders.
was such a profitable, venture, you think we would have had everybody jumping in
Yeah,
on it, right? But anyway, it looks great and I think it worked out.
Yeah, no, we've had a lot of compliments. I know she's had a lot of people come in and say, wow, it really looks nice now, so. And from the water, I hear it looks gorgeous now. It's a little cold for me to be out on the water right now. But there's some fishermen that say it just jumps now because it's white with the green on the white. And it just jumps at you, so.
Yeah, and very much worth the extra layer of the UV paint on the outside with a different texture on that paint. Looks real nice. But I had many people contact me about it, just saying that, they didn't hear about it being approved, even though we were vocal about it. But when they just happened to be walking by or driving by, it was very noticeable. So it's always nice when you put so much work and effort into a plan like that it's recognized right away. And then changing gears a bit, just want to wish Marine City High School football team best of luck on their second round playoffs for the game. They're up against Elmont this week, and best of luck to all of them.
Go Mariners. Commissioner Avery.
I have mentioned before that we have stray animals running around that are covered by our city ordinance and should be leashed. Speaking of cats particularly, I would like to make a comment that might help somebody think about this a little better. Out in the morning early walking my dog, I happened to see a slow-moving one of these cats. It had a white tail.
Stripes along the back.
Fortunately, my
Did you find
dog
the
was
owners?
Now, the reason I mention this is because the people who are so thoughtfully feeding these cats don't realize that they're also feeding other animals.
Smelly ones.
We
So,
had a coyote in
Yeah.
town too. Yep. That was dispatched.
We had a fox family in our subdivision from the same issue, people feeding
yeah,
stray
so
animals.
Cat food.
my point is that I hope we
Seen a couple
can
of
clean
cougars
some
in
of
the
this
meeting.
issue up.
Foxes were gorgeous.
That's it, thank you.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yeah, I promised the old newsboys, because I'm a member, that I'd bring this up. We're still looking for people to help out. They really need volunteers. They meet here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. The meetings have been going on for some time. It costs you $5 to join. That goes towards the end of the year get-together. But it's really a good organization. It helps a lot of kids. They processed boxes for like 350 kids last year. They raise all the money, they put everything together, so we're really looking for volunteers. So if you really have nothing better to do right now, it only goes through November, December, and then it's done. So it's only for 2 months, and it doesn't take too much time, but we're really looking for some volunteers. So if you need something to do, please come on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. here at the fire hall. Thanks.
You don't have anything to say, do you?
No, I never have anything to say, do I?
All right, moving on. Oh, go ahead.
Anyway, ditto on the lighthouse, and of course the Mariners, go Mariners. I do want to share with you, as a member, your representative to SEMCOG, I've been working with the Safe Routes to School and the Michigan Fitness and the principals at both Bell River Elementary and Marine City Middle School to evaluate and look at the need we have for some safer routes. The biggest problem is with the middle school students and their dismissal times. If we sat out there and watched what was happening and where kids are going, and so there are some things that can be done. I have spoken with Mrs. Woolman from the middle school, and we will be doing a survey probably the first 3 weeks in December of students, staff, and parents, collect information, see what's happening, observe what's going on outside, document, et cetera. Commissioner Simpson is also an alternate on that committee and has been working with us. So I just want to update you that we are actually finally going to do something on the safe routes. We've talked about it for a number of years now. So hopefully
Has,
that will move forward.
Ward and Parker been brought up in that?
Yes, yes, Ward Parker, as the students are coming back alongside the library, they're coming across, there's not a crosswalk there. The crosswalks in town, for example, they're there, and you're supposed to stop, but nobody stops unless somebody's in the middle of the road, and then you're probably lucky if they do. So, maybe some lighting, and it's just dreams, it's just thoughts right now. It's just evaluating, and then, of course, whatever plans come up will be presented and to the proper authorities and dealt with. But the initial stage is getting everybody on board, getting the committee together. The police department's been with us. We had representatives from the police department. We had the East China School Board head custodian, facilities manager, I think is what he's called now, right?
Director of Operations.
Okay, director of operations involved with that. So so we've got a committee going, the principals are on board, and we're getting permission now through the school board, school personnel to do those surveys. And hopefully they'll be done. They needed a 3-week window, so we're going to do the first 3 weeks in December for that. So I just wanted to update you on that. And then secondly, I had a couple ideas, and while Bud is here for your EBW shipbuilding in the community. They have all the slides done and everything. They did that presentation over in Sombra, and it is really exciting. It has pictures of the ships that were built here in Marine City and the industry and what it looked like. Seeing Father Rooney, I was thinking of the churches in this community are some wonderfully antique churches. And lastly, Judy White had done 2 walking tours of the historical homes in Marine City that might be interesting. Anyway, before I forget, how memories go when you get this many gray hairs. So I'm done. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Turner.
Congratulations and thank you to our city clerk. Successful election, flawlessly run. She had a lot of good help. I know the First Lady of Marine City was there.
We had a commissioner there, too.
Yeah, we had a commissioner there too.
Working
So anyway,
hard. And I heard they were working till 12:30 at night.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, you took right over and ran it well.
Thank you.
And also good luck to the football team. That's it.
Commissioner Melly?
Yeah, I want to make a couple comments. I do want to say, go Mariners. It's exciting that we were kind of gutsy last commission meeting when we changed Halloween and we were the bad guys. We got a lot of publicity about it, and I got a lot of people that kind of called me and spoke to me, how dare you cancel Halloween? And what I want to lead to is last couple months we've been having prayer before our meeting, and I really do believe that God was in on it, where we made a decision and we were looking forward to our football team, and they did quite well. And lo and behold, Halloween night, the 31st, was miserable out there. Hardly nobody went trick-or-treating. So when it came to the 1st of November, man, the people were just coming in groves, and it was quite a success. And the other thing I do want to say is I really appreciate, my kids went trick-or-treating, and we're a good city. We gave out a lot of good treats. My kids were showing their loot. I says, wait a minute, you got to share some of that with Dad, you know. But it was really exciting to see the kids were just really happy, and I had a couple of people that came up to me and says, how did you guys know that Halloween was going to be miserable? You know, that you guys were gutsy enough to change it. And then we got publicity, the news media. We were the Grimps that stole Halloween. But I just want to give tribute to, there is power in prayer, and I appreciate Father Mooney that you came out and you prayed before our meeting tonight. And things are looking good in our city, and time is going by so quick. And the other day I noticed the Christmas lights going up downtown, and I said to myself, oh my God, did I miss Thanksgiving? You know, but the idea of it is that I'm not in the sense of saying that, oh, we're putting commercial before Christmas, but it's just the atmosphere. Having the Christmas lights is just making our town a little bit homey, and I've already been getting a few responses about it, and saying, not a negative response, but more of a positive response that, hey, you know, your city is doing different things, and you're not afraid to be a little bit gutsy and trying different things. And I just want to commend our city manager and in the sense that he's leading us in different ways and making certain decisions. But I do want to see our city go forward. And I welcome comments of people. If you want to say something to me, I don't have a problem with it. But just how things worked out. I'm just grateful that that I feel God was on our side for Halloween, because that would have been miserable had it been reversed the other way around, having the first of November 1st being terrible weather. But everything worked out. Other than that I do want to commend our Mariners. I think we've got a very good football team. I'm excited for them, and I feel they're going to be victorious this year, and I want to see them go, was it 13-0 would be a perfect season? I'm looking forward to see 13-0. So, all right, thank you very much.
Okay, now it's my turn, if anybody's still listening out there. I would give you a little update on the convention that I went to. It was a long drive, 7.5 hours. Weather was miserable. It rained every day.
Oh, dear.
But I got to tell you, it was really worthwhile, and I really enjoyed it. Marquette is quite the town. They went over a transformation, a placemaking transformation over the last 40 years. And one of the workshops that I attended was a walking tour of their waterfront with their mayor pro tem, who had a vast knowledge of the history of that city. And it was, I mean, it used to look like Zug Island, pretty much. I'm talking coal docks and iron docks, and their downtown area was cut in half by railroad tracks, and it was a mess. And what they've managed to accomplish over the last 40 years is amazing. And their main focus has been on their historic buildings and their waterfront, and then tying the two together and bringing the town closer to the waterfront and engaging their citizens. And it really was an excellent spot for this convention. The speakers were excellent. Before and after the meeting, we had very good speakers. We had a president from Art Place, which is they fund projects, art projects that enhance communities.
Like Burns had.
Yeah, very novel stuff, like giving homeless people cameras and improving bus stops for people that, you know, have to take transportation like that. We had a speaker from Code for America, who they go around making websites work and stuff like that for cities. But the most interesting one I sat through was crowd spaces. And Michigan Municipal League and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation are matching up to $100,000 any funds you get through this crowdfunding. So say you wanted, the Little League wanted to put some more playground equipment in. What they would do is they'd set a project price, say $50,000. They have 30 days through crowdfunding to raise $25,000, and then the other $25,000 will be matched by MEDC. So that's a really good opportunity. They'll go all the way up to $200,000 projects. And the only stipulation is it has to be a project that improves a public space. So that's a really great opportunity for any organization out there. The state of Michigan was the first state to actually make crowdfunding a law. That laws regulating crowdfunding. Now there's 13 states, but we were the first state, so we were out ahead of all the other states. And they're working with private organizations to facilitate the crowdfunding. Patronacity is the organization that's working with the placemaking funding, where the match is. So that was really good to hear that Michigan's out in front, and then there's private crowdfunding you can do for financing, like say endeavors in your town. If somebody wanted to, the first one was in Tecumseh. It was a microbrewery. They were coming up 180,000 short on the money they needed. They did this crowdfunding financing strategy. They were able to fund the rest of the project because they got the people in the city behind it. Now it's almost guaranteed success because you have the people in the community helping fund this business, and they're all shareholders, and they're all engaged in the success of that business. So I guess the bottom line is it was worth it. I would encourage other people to maybe go to next year's.
Where is it next year?
Traverse City.
Oh, that's a little closer.
Yeah, and it's gonna, and I think Traverse City is gonna be another really excellent community to do this, because it's another city that's been very progressive and done a lot of stuff. I like the way that was laid out. There wasn't a lot of it was a lot of people there to learn and to engage and to go back and improve their communities. It wasn't a party or just a big golf outing on a public dime. So I think it's worthwhile, and I'd encourage other members to think about it next year. It's going to be in September. So that's my report on that. And then the other thing, as far as boards go, we have a lot of vacancies, and we need your help. Tifa has 2 vacant seats now, and that's a very important board. So if you're interested in doing things to improve this community, and if you have any construction background or any type of background in finance or anything like that, think about applying. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
The second meeting of each month, we're going to have a list of all the vacancies so that we keep that in front of us as we move forward.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Got motion support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.